What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I feel like 100 grand.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Wise.
Dr. Jeremy Weiss here, founder of InspiredInsider.com, where I talk with inspirational entrepreneurs and leaders and how they overcome big challenges in life and business, like the founders of P90X, Atari, Baby Einstein. For example, Julie Clark, founder of Baby Einstein, grew her business to $20 million in 5 years, but we also talked about beating cancer, how she beat cancer twice. Our sponsor today is Rise25.com, where entrepreneurs of 6, 7, and 8-figure businesses come together live and in person every few months to solve their biggest business challenges and leave with lifelong friendships. Check out Rise25.com. It's run by myself and co-founder John Corcoran, and it's application only. Today I'm very excited to have PJ, who seems so calm, so collected. You're going to understand why that is strange to me in a second. But PJ Jonas is founder of Goat Milk Stuff, which she built in her kitchen into a multi-million-dollar business. Her goat milk products business has been featured on the Today Show, The Doctors, and Oprah Magazine. And the reason I am flabbergasted that she seems so calm, she not only does that, but she runs a farm and is mother of 8 children. PJ, thanks for joining me.
Yeah.
What do you use to run the business software-wise or platform-wise? Like, what shopping cart or platform do you use for your site?
We use Xcart. So it is
Xcart.
It is we have one of the most highly customized Xcart systems out there that
Why
I've
Xcart?
ever seen. At the time, it was what was the most robust shopping cart that you could start rather inexpensively and keep adding on all the additions as your website grew. And then, like I said, we've got it very highly customized. Most people would never think that that's what it is because we've changed it so much. But it's just, I can do pretty much anything I want with some programming, which I don't do. I pay somebody to do it. But
that was just early on. You do the program.
Yeah. My little custom, my little PayPal buttons, and I was really proud of that website. But this one is much nicer and works much better. So it was highly customizable, be able to grow with us. So that's what we use for that. I have a WordPress blog on there, which I've been so overwhelmed with work that I haven't been posting anything on. But I'm going to get back to that hopefully soon.
So Xcart, WordPress, anything else to manage? Inventory or anything else?
So we actually just use Excel for inventory. We just use cash registers. We don't use any. We've looked into getting some of the different systems they have for point of sale in the farm store and stuff, which would gather some more data for us, but we gather it on the supply side, on the making of it side, the manufacturing side, as opposed to the sales side. How much we're restocking in there as opposed to what's selling. Because I just can't justify $80 to $100 a month just to be able to gather that when I can do it on a spreadsheet. I gave up QuickBooks several years ago because I hated QuickBooks with a passion, and what ended up happening.
Love-hate thing. Yeah.
Oh, I hate QuickBooks. Well, and I was using it, but what happens, and most people don't realize this, is there's only a limited number of customers in QuickBooks. And when you max out that customers, which is what we did, then you have to go to their professional version, which at that time, about 4 years ago, was $10,000. And I was like, forget it. I have all my customer information in my in Xcart. I don't need to have it duplicated there. So I just use Quicken now. Quicken has a home and business version, and it gets everything my accountant needs, and a whole lot easier and simpler.
So PJ, how did you end up on a farm?
Totally. That was a God thing. I actually grew up on an island off the coast of New Jersey.
Really?
Yep, I did. Long Beach Island. We had an oceanfront house. We were one of the few year-round families. So my husband, my brother, and I had the lifeguards would pull their boats up over the winter, and we would each have one, and we would move and have all our stuff down in there, and have our own little playhouses down on the beach under the upturned rowboats and stuff. And went to school at the University of Virginia.
When you were growing up there, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I don't ever remember having any. I was too busy having fun. I really don't remember ever wanting to be anything.
Just enjoying.
Yeah, my mom's.
I mean, I'm curious. At that age, did you know I want to have a big family? I mean,
yeah,
what
yeah.
were you thinking then?
Yeah, I
Or
knew I
maybe
wanted
you
to have
weren't.
a big family. In fact, my best friend from high school told me that she remembers us sitting in biology class and me telling her I wanted 8 children.
Really?
Yeah, I don't remember that conversation, but she swears by that. And
Something you can't make up. It's
yeah,
like,
right.
yeah.
So I did. I knew I wanted a big family. We just took them one at a time, and it was just something that I've just always enjoyed doing stuff and keeping busy. I had my first paper route when I was 10. My first job, I had a checkbook when I was 10 and would pay all my own bills, and very self-sufficient, very independent. Went to school at the University of Virginia for engineering and met my husband there. And then I worked for 3 years and had my first daughter and was like, that's it. I do not want to work anymore. I want to be a stay-at-home mom. And so it was just a matter of how, we were really in debt. We had a lot of school debt. We moved to Jersey to be closer to family, which is a really expensive place to live. And so I started tutoring and working very purposefully on paying off the debt. We paid off, it was about $75,000 in 3
College is expensive.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and so I had a couple kids at that point, and like I said, I was just really wanted healthy food for them, and tried to talk my husband into getting chickens. My husband says that chickens are the gateway animal, and so once I convinced him to get chickens, the goats were pretty close behind. We had moved to Indiana by that point.
So what brought you to Indiana?
The homeschooling laws. So
really?
We knew we were leaving New Jersey because we really just got priced out. It was not the kind of environment that we wanted to raise our family in. We were living in Trenton, which is inner city Trenton. My husband was teaching at a charter school in inner city Trenton. At a little postage stamp lot, and the kids, it was unsafe, so the kids weren't allowed to go out.
It's a rough area.
Yep. We were doing a lot of ministry with his students and stuff. And we were like, okay, we really just don't want to do this anymore. And so we started looking for, where we wanted to live, what was important to us. My husband grew up in the mountains. He didn't want it to be completely flat. I wanted to be by the ocean. I didn't get that part of my wish. But as we talked about all of the stuff that was really important to us, what became really obvious was everything was around the homeschooling. That was, we were hard workers.
That was a core value that you wanted.
Yeah. We could get a job anywhere. We weren't worried about making a living. But there are homeschooling is legal on the federal level, but it's regulated on the state level. And there are some states that make it really miserable to homeschool, which Pennsylvania was one of them. A lot of family wanted us to move to Pennsylvania. I was like, there's no way I'm going to Pennsylvania. And so Indiana had really friendly homeschool laws and really good business laws too, which, we always kind of thought maybe someday we'd do something on the side. And had no idea it was ever going to become this. That was never in our dreams. And so that's how we got out here.
Yeah, but you still could have not lived on a farm. You just wanted the healthy food.
Well, I wanted the children to be kept busy. I'm a big believer that too much free time gets children into trouble. Yeah. And so I really wanted them to have the outside chores and the understanding of life and death. I mean, yes, you can have a dog or a cat, but bottom line, you have to take it out, you have to feed it. But if you don't take care of a dairy goat that needs to be milked and you forget to shut the fence and gate or whatnot, that's life and death kind of stuff. Yeah. And so that was a big part of it. And we just, we had 3 acres. It was nice because there was plenty of room for the kids to roam, but it wasn't a huge farm by any means.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. How do you decide on growth? Like I remember we mentioned the military, like, no, I don't want that headache. What's the balance between a certain amount of growth and too much growth for you?
It's really hard, to be perfectly honest. So when we decided that we were going to add the food products, the goat cheese, the milk, all of that, that was a lot of prayer, a lot of family meetings went into that, because that we knew was going to be a huge change. Because in order to get certified and go through all that regulation, you can't do it small. If you want to bake bread and sell bread, most states have a home exemption law for foods that are not very risky. But you can't do that with cheese.
Yeah.
You have to go, it's go big or go home. I've said to people, in hindsight, I'm not sure I would have done it had I known just how bad it was going to be. We are in that, I thought when I was adding the foods that it was going to be adding a new product line to goat milk stuff. And it hasn't been. It's been starting a new business completely from scratch. And so when you start a business, you've got all of those years at the beginning where you have to put the infrastructure into place. You have to have everything ready, but you're not selling as much as you can produce. So it's steadily growing, and that's what we wanted because, I learned early on that rapid growth is really hard. I'd much rather have it slow and steady. And that's why we've got all the billboards on the highway. So people coming off the highway to come and shop and do that. We just started making gelato, which is like a ice cream. And serving that. So that's been a big change for people because that, helps prompt a lot of the repeat and the locals who would, not necessarily run out of their soap that they bought just yet, but they can come in, for the gelato. And so, growth always sounds really, really good. But when you have trouble hiring people and, you're already working as hard as you want, growth isn't always a good thing because you could really push yourself too far. It's one thing when you can easily find people and, if you don't need very skilled labor, but, it's not just anybody that can come in and make cheese. That's a pretty specialized position and someone that has to be really trustworthy. So it is a balancing act. It is a, okay, let's take this slowly. Let's just add one kind of cheese this year. Next year we'll add another. We've been working on, so this year we had our last year we did the soft cheese, which is called a chev. And so this year we added feta, and then next year we'll be adding the pressed cheese. So, there's a lot of people with first year, oh, do you have pressed cheese? And I'm like, we will, but not yet. I don't want to overwhelm us. This is the cheese we're developing. This is the cheese we're perfecting. We'll get there. And so, I could have sold it had I added it right away, but I'm not sure that it would have helped the long-term goal of the business.
What is the process of the one you started with as far as making the cheese?
Well, the chev, that's what I had made for our family for years.
Okay.
I could make that. My kids, my 5-year-old knows how to make it.
Really?
They don't now because we sell it, and you have to do a whole lot more paperwork because of the state regs. But it's something that we had perfected. Yeah. We knew what to do. We knew all the ins and outs. We knew the pitfalls. We knew how to make it taste good and everything. So it was a really easy one for us to start with.
Yeah. PJ, this is remarkable. I really appreciate you sharing your story. I always ask as Inspired Insider, what's been the lowest moment, and then and how you push through, and what's been one of the proudest moments?
I would definitely say the lowest moment was when I realized that the people I had hired were not going to work out because we knew them; they were friends of ours and whatnot, and that was really painful. And not because they're bad people, not because we're bad people, just because it's not a good fit. I tell that people all the time, you can have a great person with a highly skilled, everything, and it's just not a good fit in your company. But if someone leaves their job, and comes on with you, then you have that I feel that responsibility. Yeah. So that was definitely the lowest, and having, the first time you have to fire somebody, that's really hard.
And they're a friend.
Yeah. That's really difficult. Definitely the low point. The high point was definitely moving to this property, realizing that we can grow old here. I can keep expanding this business quite a lot on this property, and watching the children really come into their own on this. I mentioned before that I've given the children when the youngest turns 18, which is in 8.5 years now, my husband and I are done with the business. I said, I'll be happy to, give a tour, bag soap, give an interview, but I'm not hiring anybody, firing anybody, paying a bill, making a decision, dealing with contractors, any of that stuff. And so right now, all 8 say they want to work goat milk stuff when they're older. Some of them are still pretty young, so we'll see if any of that changes. But seeing that with this farm, it's big enough and we can add enough stuff that they can all work and support a family doing it, and watching them really step up to those challenges and learn things that like for example, my son my 18-year-old had a meeting today with a different payroll company that's trying to get us to switch payroll. And he's like, Mom, what do you want to do? I'm like, I don't care. That's up to you. You're going to be the one doing the payroll. You decide whether you want to switch or not.
What are the options?
Well, exactly. And what are the costs? And, I said, make sure you ask about hidden costs because they're not always going to tell you everything. So kind of training him in that and watching them step out of their comfort zones and succeed at it has been just really awesome.
PJ, what else is on the farm? Like you have goats, obviously. What else?
Yeah. So we have, right now, we just have the dairy goats. We have alpine goats, which are the big milk breed, but we do what's called a baby goat experience where people can come and spend half an hour in the baby goat pen, it's a favorite here. And so because our alpine babies grew so big so quickly, we ended up getting a couple of miniature goats. So we have some miniature goats as well that we use in that. We have chickens for the eggs, and we have rabbits for the manure for the garden. So those are the only animals in the past at our other place. We've had just about everything: turkeys, sheep, cows, you name it. We pretty much, I didn't do llamas. Llamas was about the one thing I didn't do. But, in all of that, really found that we really love the goats. We're really goat people. We love their personalities. Every goat has a name. They answer to their names.
Really?
I was hanging out with the goats yesterday and watched one of them undo the gate chain with her tongue. I was like, I was talking to her as she was doing it. I'm like, no, you can't do that. And she just kept working it and got the whole thing undone. I'm like, okay, we got to fix that. But they're really fun. We really enjoy them. Yeah. So that's what we have for animals. We have a huge garden, really big garden. And we have multiple buildings on the property. I think it's like 7 buildings. So we're really happy for construction to be done. That was very tiring.
So PJ, I have one last question. Before I ask it, where should we point people towards? Obviously, they can go to goatmilkstuff.com. Where else online or on your site should they check out?
Well, I actually have a free bar of soap for your listeners.
Wow.
That's
amazing.
Yeah.
Thank
so
you
mentioned the website is goatmilkstuff.com.
Yeah.
And then they go /inspired soap. And it's just one word. There's no space or hyphen or anything. It's just goatmilkstuff.com /inspired soap. And it'll give them the directions on what they need to do to get
goatmilkstuff.com /inspired soap. That's very generous of you. Thank you.
And so, the website is where everything is pretty much based off from there. You can get to our YouTube channel and our Twitter and Facebook. And so, we're on pretty much most of the social medias. We never do it as well as I would like. We did a lot with videos for a while there. And then with this latest construction, we kind of had to put that on hold. So you
have a good setup right now, right where you are.
Yep. So we're hoping to get back to that soon.
So last question, PJ, is what should we leave people with? What have we not talked about that would be interesting? What else?
One of the things that I talk to a lot of people about is there's a lot of cynicism out there that the American dream is dead, that you really can't get ahead. And I like to tell people that it's still out there. We are living, breathing examples of that you can succeed. It's not necessarily going to be easy. It's going to take a lot of hard work. It's going to take a lot of late nights. But if you have a product that you believe in, you can make it happen. The internet is a wonderful thing because for very, very inexpensively, you don't need to teach yourself how to code now. There's all sorts of do-it-yourself, websites out there. You can put something up and start taking money and start trying things, seeing what sells, seeing what people are interested in.
Right.
One of the main benefits that we had from going to all those craft fairs was actually talking face to face with people, watching what they did, what drew their eye, what did they pick up and smell for the soap, what were their reactions, what did they buy, how many did they buy, why did they buy those, how sensitive were they to discounts, all of those things that, there's craft shows everywhere, there's farmers markets everywhere, you don't have to have a farm type product or whatnot. I mean, you can take your to a flea market and talk to some customers and, for a $50 investment, see what people, what they like and talk to them face to face. And so there's a lot of really easy ways to test things. You don't necessarily have to build a store, and invest in that. So it is still possible. Everybody can still do it. Don't be afraid of setbacks. It's not always a smooth ride. A lot of people don't share all their failures and setbacks, but we all have them. But it is still possible.
Yeah. Test small and try it out.
And dream big.
Yeah.
Yeah, dream big because a lot of people are afraid to do that, and you can dream big.
PJ, I want to be the first one. Thank you so much for your time amongst the business, the farm, the kids. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank
right.
you so much for having me.
Thanks.
What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I'm feeling like 100 grand.